Megan here on the Backfist Customs Glitter channel, and I thought that this Neon Rainbow Milky Way tutorial would be the perfect way to kick off Pride Month. So let's get started. I'm using a 15-ounce skinny tumbler, and I've got it base coated white, just a nice neutral color so when I put my glitters on here, they really pop. And I'm using fast set, probably about 2.5 milliliters or even just a little bit less for this layer. You really don't need a whole lot. When I do my Milky Ways, I really like to bring in as much contrast and depth as possible, so I'm going to do a mixture between fine and chunky glitters. The Electric series is all of the fine neon glitters, and then we're going to use some of the Neon Vacation series. And I'll make sure that I put all of the names of the glitters that I use down below. So my first glitter, we've got Electric Bubblegum, and this is a fine glitter. My first line here, I just kind of get that base down, okay? It doesn't need to be straight. I'm gonna go back and fix it. So kind of just get that angle down. Quick push off to the side so that your glitter doesn't fall where you don't want it to. And then I go back, even up my line, and kind of fuzzy up the sides a little bit. Next, we're going to do Madagascar. This is our chunky vacation series. I love all of the vacation series, and these neon vacations are absolutely gorgeous. Just kind of fuzzy up that line again. Once you get your first one down, it's a lot easier to just kind of follow it, and your next ones just kind of fall right into place. These don't need to be perfect. If you are really particular about the spacing, you could put little notches like with a pencil on the top so you know how far to do each line. I just kind of eyeball it. And I'm using Electric Pollen here. This yellow is so bright, I love it. It's a really good color for softball tumblers too. Next, we're going to use Belize. Green is my absolute favorite. I love Belize. This is such a fun, summery green. And again, your swirls do not have to be perfect for a Milky Way, okay? You're gonna put a bunch of stuff over it, so it will cover some of those little imperfections that you have. This is Electric Rain. And last one, we've got Bali. All right, let's glitter the bottom. Now, I'm not super particular on this. I just make sure that my color comes up over the edge a little bit, and then I just let the rest of it fall where it's gonna fall. I love the bottom kind of swirly goodness that happens on the bottom of a Milky Way. I do put my logo on there too, so it covers up a lot of that, but doesn't need to be perfect, okay? It comes out beautiful. Just kind of take those colors up over the edge so it looks cohesive and let them do their thing. So we've let that dry, and after that, I'm gonna dry brush it here. Just take a dry paintbrush and get all the extra glitter off. And then you can spray seal this with a clear spray. My favorite is the Krylon Triple Thick. Okay, now we're gonna do our first coat of epoxy. I like to do a thin coat anyways. If you don't, make sure that you do a thinner coat than you normally would. This is really just a barrier layer. It doesn't need to be thick at all. You just want a little bit of a barrier between that glitter and the layer where you're gonna add all of your colorants. I like to use Fast Set for this layer. Again, just helps me move on to my next step a little bit quicker. Time is money. Give it a good torch, make sure that there's no bubbles, and we're gonna let this layer dry. Okay, next layer. This layer, I'm using the original viscosity. I really love the thickness of it and the way the colorants like react and move around and flow into it. It's just absolutely amazing. This is my favorite for the Milky Ways and what I would definitely suggest you use. And the fun is about to happen, but we got to get this layer on so that when our colorants go on our cup, they have something to move around in. And even though this is the thickest, I do let this sit for about a half an hour, okay? So let this sit about a good half an hour or so to let it kind of thicken up a little bit more. And while you're doing that, you can get all of your colorants ready. So I'm gonna do a mixture of the micas, all of the neon micas from Backfist Customs. And again, I'll put links below. And then I'm gonna do some of the neon dispersion colors from CCDIY. And again, just that depth that the different colorants give. You guys can use some alcohol inks in here too. Whatever you want. It's just really fun to play and layer these colors. So I'm kind of swiping on my micas first. Just kind of using my finger and just swipe them over the corresponding color. Kind of make sure you put a little bit on that bottom too, just so there's that swirly goodness going on down there as well. Now I'm using my dispersion colors and I'm just kind of dropping them on here. The white is armor art, and I love the armor art. It gives like this really amazing cells in there, so it's really fun. And I'm just kind of putting it in between each color. Just a tiny bit of a separation, just kind of add a little bit of white in there. I'm going to use a little bit of heat. I don't want too much heat on this one. So I'm going to use my heat gun and just kind of focus more on my white areas. That's what I kind of want to move out a little bit here. If you get it too hot, if it starts running too much for you, you can flip your turner and start turning it the other way. You can get a little toothpick and kind of pull it down a little bit. You can just leave it and let it run. But just a couple of things to think about so that it's coming out the way that you want it to come out. And the reason why I love the original viscosity for this too, and why I would say not to use fast set, is as this turns, and you can already see it starting to change a little bit here, those colorants really start to move and kind of do their own thing. So I love it. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I let this run just a little bit longer than I normally would, just so you can kind of start seeing how the colors start moving around and interacting with the resin and just starting to create this beautiful Milky Way. And one final layer of resin just to finish it off, seal everything nice and good. I use the original viscosity, I love it for a final layer over a Milky Way, especially if you have a little bit of waviness. That original viscosity usually evens it all up really well for you. And one final look at our final tumbler here. I love how it came out. Make sure you guys check in the description below. I have a lot of links for different things that I used. And if you like the video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss new content. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see y'all later.